right, hello, I'm Sophia. I'm with Radio K, and I'm joined with.
Raekwon.
Yeah, super exciting. So, you are based in New York City,
Mm-hmm.
and you said you're from Buffalo.
Yep.
Can you describe the music scene a little for us in New York City?
Yeah. I think New York City's it's an interesting space because it's a lot of transplants, um, and obviously a lot of like touring bands come through. Um, so yeah, I think it's like vibrant. There's like always something happening, and it's there are like so many different scenes that you can be a part of. I tend to just kind of like do my thing and play shows when I'm asked, and everyone's been super supportive and friendly. So good scene.
Okay, and it's pretty collaborative, would you say?
Um, I think it can be. I think for me, um, at least the records that I put out one record so far, an EP, and both of those have been like self-produced, self-mixed, kind of played all the instruments. So I haven't necessarily done a whole lot of like collaboration in terms of making the music, but in terms of like music videos and photos and just like the art scene in general, yeah, like I've collaborated with a lot of like local artists that have been really awesome, and yeah, there's definitely a lot of collaboration depending on what you're looking for.
So, self produced, self mixed,
Hmm.
that's a lot.
Yeah,
Describe that process for us.
yeah. I think it kind of depends and changes for the last EP. A lot of that started with me finding like drum loops and break beats online, and then building these like drum tracks, and then playing like acoustic guitar or piano over those, and then kind of like building the songs out from there. I made it all in my apartment, so I've got like a little home studio set up. And then the first record, a lot of that was made at I like wrote it at the piano, and then um, just like recorded stuff and took bits and pieces from various like once songs would merge into each other, and that kind of like took like a year. So yeah, I mean, when you're doing it all yourself, I think it can tend to move a little bit slower, but it gives you more control over it. But I actually think for the next record, I want to explore more like collaboration, more like maybe not self-recording it, maybe going to a studio and not mixing it myself and having like other people play on it. Yeah, so
Is there anyone you have in mind in terms of being on it?
yeah, so when I tour down here, I'm playing as a duo. So I have my drummer with me, and we go way back, and we met in college. He's great. His name is Mario, and so I think he's gonna play drums on the record. I think, and yeah, I think it'd still be self-produced, but yeah, at least he'll be playing drums, which is a new thing for me because, like I said, up until this point, it's been largely like a solo project.
That's super exciting now. And I heard you say that this is your second time at South by
Yep.
Southwest. Yep.
Yeah.
How's it been treating you so far?
Yeah, this one's been amazing. I
Yeah.
think it's cool to. I came last year, and that was my first time, and kind of getting your feet wet. And it's kind of overwhelming experience. It's pretty like hectic, and so it feels good to kind of have that first experience under my belt. And now it's a little bit more manageable. I'm less stressed. I'm a little able to enjoy it a little bit more than last year. So yeah, it's been really beautiful this time around so far.
Okay. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, can you describe your musical start? What was like your first inspiration or your first start with music?
Yeah. Musical start. Well, my mom is super musical, so there was like a piano in the house growing up in the apartment. And I really started playing guitar in middle school. I took lessons for like 6 months, and then kind of quit because I was just wanting to play my own stuff. Um, but yeah, that was like the start of playing songs and writing songs was on the guitar. That's where I started, and I was really into like kind of like Jimi Hendrix and like
Of course.
Steve Ray Vaughan, like this whole vibe for a long time. Um, but so yeah, in high school I kind of discovered like Animal Collective or TV on the Radio, these like little bands that are more like on the fringe, and that started to like inform, I think, the direction that I wanted to head. So yeah, I think it started with like the pop thing, and then like most kids, you kind of like start wanting to dig deeper and explore more and explore more. So yeah, but I guess started with my mom being really musical.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where it started.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your album, Where I'm At Now,
Yeah.
that came out in 2021. and it was raw and beautiful.
Oh,
I
cool.
loved it.
Yeah.
But then in 2022, we saw that expanded version come
Yeah.
out.
Hmm.
So what was your thought process on that, or what changes did we see from the original to the expanded?
Yeah, good question. So the record, I wrote it, like I said, I wrote a lot at the piano. Um, but when I obviously recorded it and the final version of the record, there's a lot of instruments on it and it's a lot more fleshed out. But for the 1 year anniversary of the record having come out, I kind of thought it'd be cool to go to this studio in Brooklyn. It's called the Honey Jar Studio. It was my first time ever being in a studio. But I thought it'd be cool to go there and capture some like live performances of some of the songs from the record on the piano, just the piano, like some solo stuff. Just because, yeah, so much of the record was made at the piano, I thought it'd be really cool to honor it in that way. So we shot some like videos and recorded these 3 songs in one take, and then we thought, hey, this would be really cool to actually like put on make an expanded edition of the record. And then we also included this song that didn't make it on the record for the first time around, but that I recorded it for the record originally. It's called Single Mom's Day, and it's like an 8-minute song about my mom. And I released that. I originally wanted to release that for Mother's Day, which I did, and then we thought, well, we should probably let's put this on the record, on the expanded edition. And so that was a cool opportunity, and it's a song that I'm really proud of. So yeah, that was the thinking behind it.
Okay, and I love that song,
Oh, cool.
Single
Yeah,
Mom's
yeah.
Day. So
Yeah.
it's extremely deep, heartfelt. But can you tell us a little bit more about how your mom influences your music? I know you talked about her being an inspiration and your musical start, but let's dig a
Yeah.
little deeper.
Yeah. I mean, growing up, it was just me and my mom, and so she was obviously like a huge influence in my life, and really supportive and caring. I think in terms of the music, um, yeah, I mean, obviously, I think you're a byproduct of your surroundings, your environment. So, like growing up, whatever she was listening to, like that's what I was listening to, right? And she was always more into kind of like the pop world. I think that's like she likes to listen to the radio, like this kind of thing, like John Mayer or like
Yes.
she likes like Jay-Z, like like these more like mainstream records.
Yeah.
And so I think like fundamentally at my core, I'm kind of like a pop artist, right? Kind of because of that. And so I think like as I've explored more like experimental music or listening to different things, it's like I'm still at the core like just want to write like really really beautiful songs with like really pleasing melodies and really direct. And so I think that's like one of the big ways that she actually like directly inspires the music and what it sounds like. Yeah.
And would you describe yourself as a pop artist, or how would you
Um,
describe your music?
Yeah, I wouldn't describe it as pop. I'd probably say it's like it's inspired by a lot of things, but
Yeah.
like R&B, singer-songwriter, um, like folk, indie rock,
Okay.
all that kind of stuff. Maybe indie pop too. I gave like a million different things right there. But
Why would you
yeah.
want to be confined into
Yeah,
one
yeah,
thing?
yeah.
And also, yeah, you can definitely see all of those elements in your
Mhm.
music too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So going back to the album Where I'm At Now,
Mhm.
I saw in your Bandcamp
Mhm.
camp, I really liked this description that you had,
Mm.
that it captures your musical past while looking ahead to a brighter future. So I'm going to test you a little bit on this.
Sure.
Can you describe the musical past? Like, what are you talking about in that way?
Yeah. So I think a lot of that record is about like self-discovery and learning to be okay with who you are and like growing into yourself. And so I think that record was sort of like a snapshot of me on that journey to like self-love and celebrating who I am. But I wasn't quite there yet when I made it, and I kind of recognized that, right? So I was like, this record is like I'm on the path. I'm getting to where I want to be, but I'm not exactly there yet.
Okay.
And so I think like thematically or emotionally, that's where that comes from. Musically, a lot of the stuff I was doing, that was my first record, but I'd been making music like demos, and I actually made a whole record that didn't come out, like pre-pandemic, that I just like never released. And I think like that music that I was making at the time was really like, it was a little more like cryptic, where the lyrics weren't direct, and it was a little more fragmented sonically, like, and so yeah, I think I wanted to like going forward, I wanted to make music that was more direct, and I wanted to like say how I was feeling more plainly. And I think that that record, again, it does that. Um, but yeah, so but it still has some of that like fragmented stuff or like cryptic lyricism going on. And so I think it was like a combination of like my past and then where I wanted to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, very interesting.
Mhm.
And then what type of brighter future do you see in your music?
Yeah, I think the main thing that I'm on right now is trying to capture like rawness and trying to capture emotion above anything else. Like I think it'd be really cool to record. I mentioned that I do the live set as a duo. I think it'd be really cool to like record a record as a duo and not add a bunch of overdubs, or maybe try and um, yeah, not add like a lot of vocal layers. Try to be more direct with it. So yeah, I think for me the future is trying to get to the essence and strip things down to like, yeah, what's the most important thing, which is like the words, the performance, the emotion. Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to head to.
Totally. I mean, in my opinion, I feel like we already see the emotion that
Yeah.
goes into your work
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot.
cool. Yeah, for
super
sure.
raw, especially in Single Mom's Day too.
Yeah, I love that song.
But I wanted to talk about the song Talk.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge Dijon fan. You know Dijon.
Yeah, yeah.
And that song, when I heard it the first time, I thought it was Dijon. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
sounded, it sounds amazing,
Cool.
and it reminded me of him a lot. But I want to know the beginnings of that song. Like what were the influences on that one?
Yeah, so for that whole EP, I just kind of wanted to make. I was really inspired by this idea of like combining these like drum beats or like hip hop type beats and low end with like more delicate instruments like guitar or piano, and making these like really short, simple songs. And that's why the EP is called "I Like It When You Smile," and it's kind of just meant to be, yeah, just kind of a little more like direct, simple, uplifting, and like fun. I wanted to remind myself that music can be fun because sometimes, like making records is kind of like complicated, and you can kind of like sit there banging your head against the wall for a while, you know. But I wanted to remember that, hey, you can just like have fun with this, you know. And so yeah, that's where that song and the genesis of that whole EP comes from.
Lyricism wise, what about it?
Yeah, a lot of times like you sit down and like I write songs, and it's not like I go into it thinking that I'm gonna write a song about this topic. And so that one, I think it's about wanting to open up with someone and wanting to like talk about how you're feeling, right? And it's like I know, you know, I think the lyric is like, you know, I know you don't want to talk about it, but so I guess I'll have to show you, you know, I'll have to show you how I feel. So yeah, that's what that song is about. But going back to the point about not knowing what it's going to be. Sometimes you write these songs and you're still trying to figure it out, like even after you've written it.
Oh sure.
Oh yeah, you know, like what is it about? You know, like what is it about? Yeah. So
Kind of
sometimes
have
I
to-
don't even know.
Yeah, it's cryptic almost. You have to look back. Like,
Sure.
What was going through my mind?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So what album did you enjoy the most making?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think I enjoyed them, pieces of them both in different ways.
Different
Yeah,
ways,
I
okay.
think in different ways. I think the first record I was in Illinois for a while. This was like during the pandemic. And I was with my partner at her parents' place in the middle of southern Illinois, and there was like we were just in this house together, and we couldn't see anyone, right? Because it was like COVID,
Sure,
and
yeah.
so that was like a totally unique experience because like a lot of the record is made in this place that before that I had never been to really. Whereas like the EP was made in my apartment in New York, so it felt maybe like more familiar. But sometimes it's kind of cool to be in this like I have like very clear memories of the first record because it was like such a unique time, and felt so like strange but yet beautiful in the same way, you know, like isolating in that way.
So would you say like where you are in terms of location and geography, and does that have an impact on making music?
Yeah, absolutely. I think like the first record, there was a piano in the house that we were staying
sure.
at, and
Yeah.
so that like influenced, you know, the direction of that record and how it sounded. Whereas when I make music in my apartment, it's like maybe I have to be quieter, and so that's why I was like more influenced by like acoustic guitar or something like that, or like more sample based music. And then like going to a studio, like for the next record, you can probably be like louder. I can crank the amps, you know, like for sure, like where you are is definitely influences how you're feeling and your emotions, and even just like the gear available to you.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. So, in terms of South by Southwest, is there anyone
South by,
you are excited to see?
Huh, huh, huh. Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to like think about who I'm like super excited to see this year. I've seen some good people already. I saw um, Indigo de Souza yesterday at Mohawk, which was really tight. Yeah, so that was really good. I just came from seeing this band Divino Nino, which is on this label Windspear.
Sure, we've interviewed them
Okay.
too before.
Yeah, yeah.
They're super cool.
Yeah, and like I hadn't really listened to them a whole bunch, but they were rocking.
Yeah.
And it was a crazy set just now. So yeah, and I'm playing like the Windspear day party tomorrow. So Barry is someone who's really cool, and she's also on Windspear.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to seeing her also tomorrow, and then people from my label. So other folks on my label, like Annie Blackman, is on Father Daughter. I'm excited to see her.
Okay.
Yeah, those are kind of the big. Those are some people I'm excited for.
And how are you feeling about your performance tomorrow?
I'm excited. I have two, so one during the day and then one at night.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm super stoked.
Yeah.
I'm super stoked because I think they're both. One's like more of like a day party vibe at Cheer Up Charlie's, which is a really cool venue. I played there last year.
Okay.
Really good vibe. And then yeah, my label showcases tomorrow, so it'll be fun to just like be with all the people that I love, and you know, kind of in an environment like that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so I'm super stoked. Yeah, I think it's gonna be rocking.
Okay, and in
Yeah.
terms of music, can we expect anything from you this year, or
This
can
year,
you
this
say?
year.
Can you
Yeah,
tell?
yeah. Right now, I'm working on the next record,
Okay.
and so in terms of timing, I would say you know, never say never, but I think next year might be more likely. I definitely want to put a record out early next year or like midpoint next year, but you know, we'll see where it takes us. But
Sure.
I'm definitely working on the next record right now.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us here. This has been Radio K, Real College Radio.
Cool. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah.